Daddy's recording. Shut the fuck up.
Let's get into it. 1, 2, 3.
Well, hello and welcome to my Whiskey Den, your favorite public access whiskey review show where craft whiskey is king. And what are we doing here today, Mike?
What are we doing?
What are we doing? Oh, I forgot. That's not what are we doing. What are we supposed to remind people of? My hand slipped. It's the wrong button.
You're all out of sorts. You're in the wrong location and everything.
I am. I'm all screwed up. Left my list at home, making shit up on the fly. This is terrible.
It's all right. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below. Comment in the live chat. Don't forget to hit that bell notification to find out when new episodes are coming out. Don't forget, almost every single Monday is a live episode in our An Evening With series. We have some really good ones that are coming up. We've had a lot of really great ones in the past. And then we have special things like tonight. We have our Tonight Live episode where we are answering the challenge.
Yes, we were challenged by Ed O'Meara over at the Rotgut Review. Sorry about that, I was choking. To do the top 5, what was it, the top 5 whiskeys?
You need 5 whiskeys.
You only need 5 whiskeys. Yeah. I already have a problem with the statement. But okay.
You got issues.
Yeah, I do. I have some issues. And the thing with this is we have to go through 5 different categories and put up what we thought would be like the standard things, like what's the best mixer. But instead of just doing that, we're a craft whiskey show. Why would we not do a craft whiskey list as well too? So we're doing double duty. Thank you for stopping in, everybody in the chat. We really appreciate it. Mark, good to see you in. Now, what should our first category be, guys? Wait, what are you drinking? What are you all drinking today? I'll go first. You're slow on the draw.
Go ahead.
I'm drinking some great Northern.
Yes, you are drinking.
Wisconsin. The Old Guard. This is a private selection release by the Midnight Whiskey Club and Naismiths down in Appleton. They do a bunch of real private picks and stuff. This one's just from Plover, just up the road, and I'm tasting it out. We sent you some, so we'll see what we think of it here as it's going on. What do you guys have in your glass?
So I was catching the Pussifer live stream tonight.
Ooh.
Their concert and CD release, and I've got a bottle of the Privateer rum in the special finish. They call it Nautical Twilight. 4 years, 3 months, and they finished it in a Calvados cask, and it's freaking amazing.
Yeah,
coming in at 119 proof, so it's about 3 sips in, and my tongue was numb already.
Nice.
I love Maggie Campbell, so I'm would not turn that down. I think that would turn out, and that sounds awesome.
She can do no wrong.
Yeah, do no wrong. What's in Mike's glass?
I am having a little sample from Deer Hammer Distillery. It's the Deer Hammer Rye, a cask strength sample from them.
Yeah, that sounds pretty exciting.
I'm telling you what, man. I mean, there's so many places that make good whiskey. Deer Hammer, man, they just it's good, and it just really sucks that it's not in my area. I'm pretty sure it's not in yours, and I'm pretty sure it's not in Ben's, and that is bad.
Well, and that's one of the ones that we I think you've got, and I found out about because of our guest on Monday night, who is going to be Steve Akeley from the ABV Network. Mike knows a titch more about him, but he's done some tastings and some other stuff with him. He's doing some phenomenal stuff with whiskey to help kind of progress things even in a pandemic. I think he was one of the first people to start doing barrel picks to kind of push that again and doing them on streams, and I don't know. It's pretty amazing.
For one of the many things that they do aside from the media that they put out, the podcasts and all the interviews and the other shows they do with some of the distillery events and tastings that they have done. I mean, how do you do that in a pandemic, and they've not only been able to do it, they have had a lot of events that have happened during this whole thing, and the process in which they've gotten people to, well, one, gotten the word out, two, gotten people to sign up, filling in the slots that they've got, getting people what they need for the tastings. It's been great, and I've done several of them with them, and they've all been fantastic. So yeah, it'd be a really, really good conversation with him on Monday.
Yeah. I think as I put it one other time, is he's doing a lot of the things that we wanted to do before I knew they were doing them, and he's really good at it.
He's very good at it.
They're very good at what they do over there.
And he's a bona fide Kentucky Colonel.
Yeah, that my buddy Joe will be stopping in for that alone. Yeah. All right, let's get back to drinking and talking about our whiskey selections for this top 5. Let's start with the Daily Drinker. I mean, it's wonderful. I mean, it's got, in my mind, it has to be semi-cost effective. I mean, follow the Leahy. You know, I am the liquor. You got to be accessible.
Liquor's calling the shots now, Randy.
That's right. So for my daily, I went with an Old Forester rye, about $20 where I am. It's lately something that's kind of came up on my radar, something I'd want to get my taste on. I'm not saying this is going to be forever, but I could handle it for a couple months of going with that. And for my daily, for the craft list, I'm going with the Dancing Goat Limousine Rye. And if I can make it cask strength, I would, but I think that's cheating. So I will stand with just the original version of it. It's light, it's nuanced, it's something you can mix with things. It's very playful, and it's not going to challenge you too much, where it's something you can have and enjoy on a daily basis. So, bam, done. Who else wants to talk about their daily drink?
Go ahead, Ben.
All right. My daily this year has been the Early Times Bottled Bond. Go to that one quite often. It's really affordable, still pretty much available. We'll see what Sazerac does with it since they bought it out, but it's got those classic Brown-Forman notes to it. So if you're a fan of like Jack Daniel's Single Barrel or Old Forester, you're going to find some similarity to it, but just for a really great price and kicking it 100 proof. So, you know, it's a great end of the day drink. But it's also being upended from the craft side of things. Yeah. Our good buddies at the Spirits of French Lick, the Lee W. Sinclair Bottled and Bond, their 4-grain bourbon. That thing is just fantastic. I could sip on that every day, never complain, ever. It's just a great freaking whiskey.
And pretty cost effective for a craft whiskey.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I picked Dancing Goat, because I think here it's about $30 I can get that for at the liquor store. I think probably Spirits of French Lick might be $10 more, somewhere in the ballpark range. So, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Just tossing tidbits out there.
Yeah.
Just tossing bits. Okay.
Take it away, Mike.
So, on that note, okay, so my whole thing with the list, because it was a lot harder to really try to narrow things down than I thought it was going to be. So ahead of time, what I decided was I was going to pick, my whole list was going to come off of things that I already have, because then I know about it's not something I want to buy, not something I want to get. It was something I already had. So the Daily Drinker, you know, the thing that I was thinking about was, one, it's got to be easy access, and if you're going to have it daily, if you're out, you got to be able to go get it. And, you know, you don't need to stockpile a case of it. You know, something, I got a grocery store down the street, and there's a liquor store a block away. Could I walk down to both of those and get it? And this really is kind of a no-brainer, because I think it's on pretty much a lot of people's lists for a lot of things. But Wild Turkey 101 for the daily. Very, very easy to come by, inexpensive. Even our grocery store, sometimes they've had it on sale for $19, and it's ridiculous. And it's great. It's great. It's versatile. You can cook with it. It's really, really good to cook with. And obviously it tastes great. For a craft one, same criteria. The problem with the craft is there's a lot of craft ones that I would like to get, but I would end up to have it daily. I would have to buy several bottles and keep them on hand. So then I would have it. So I went with actually a local craft that I do like. That is Union Horse here in Kansas City. And it's their Rolling Standard 4-grain. It's a very, very nice whiskey. It's local. It's at all the stores everywhere. It's not like some places were even local craft ones. Oh, you can only get it in a couple places. It is all over the place here, and it's a good whiskey, and it's pretty versatile.
The Wild Turkey was fighting with the Old Forester for me. It was right up in there where I was like, well, Wild Turkey, like you said, Wild Turkey you can get everywhere.
Yeah.
And on that note, special nomination for me for this one, price wise, JTS Brown. I just got it for like $9. That's kind of for the daily drinker where it's not expensive. It slides in there. I have my little bit more expensive, and then also that's the cheap version. That's a cheap nominee.
Except there's might be a problem with it. I thought I recently read where somebody stuck that on a list, which you know what happens every time someone sticks a whiskey on a list, and then you can't find it. I don't think even if Wild Turkey 101 was called the best whiskey in the world, they would not run out. There is so much of it. They make so you're not going to run out of 101. But some of these other ones, man, as soon as it comes on a list, well, then you can't find it.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. I like that. What should we do? I'm going to push this next. We're going to go right in to the mixer. Something that blends well in an alcoholic beverage, kind of enhances it, maybe bumps it up a couple notches. Ben, why don't we start with you with the mixers?
All right. My mixers, occasionally I'll throw it in a Coke, but usually I'll make an old fashioned or a Manhattan, sometimes a whiskey sour. So I tend to lean towards, I like high proof and high rye content. So for me, the daily mixer from the big boys, give me Knob Creek, the single barrel rye at 120 proof. It really stands up in a mix really well. And on the craft side of things, as you can tell from this bottle, I just got this for my birthday, but the Catoctin Creek cast strength rye, it's freaking amazing. It's just dark and bold and just so many good flavors, and it stands up really good in a mix. So those are my two. I like the rye. I like high proof in a mixer. So quality in, quality out. I'm not necessarily going the cheap route.
Mike, where'd you land on this?
So again, with a mixer, my thing was it's obtainable, and it needs to be able to hold its own. And one thing, it was just instantly I'd already picked Wild Turkey 101, which is, I think, an incredibly versatile whiskey, but something that I love mixing drinks with and just drinking straight, Rittenhouse Bottled and Bond Rye. This stuff will hold its own against anything, and it is not expensive. It is really, really good on its own, and it does make a really nice Manhattan, and it stands up to anything else you throw at it. From the craft side, craft was a little harder because, I was trying to think, again, something bold that would stand on its own. I thought, well, geez, I got something that I've already used more than once to make a drink. It's not as obtainable as I would like, but it's not my daily, it's my mixer. But the Wood Hat Bourbon Rubenesque at 100 proof, it is bold. It makes a very nice Manhattan, and it'll hold up to anything else that you put at it too.
Very, very nice. Now, mine on this, the mixer is something I thought you should be getting pretty accessible. But I went a completely different because I don't really mix drinks that often anymore. I mean, you end up getting an old fashioned in Wisconsin, happens a lot, but a lot of the times I'm just drinking it straight. So I do like to play with some, let's say, Lefroy 10, maybe a little Artbag 10. I don't care. Whatever your fancy is, I'm not trying to start. Yeah, I am trying to start a pissing contest. One of you win, battle it out in the comments. Let's see what happens. But nice piece, which you just kind of drop. If you're not even just dropping a couple of them there, maybe a half ounce into some of the things you're making, really adds some super fun complexity, especially around the holidays for me. Just getting that extra smokiness to it. And on that note, for the craft side, I went with the Kilkeegan Apple Brandy with the old fashions we do here. Just adding that extra couple layers, it has a lot of punch. It's subdued compared to kind of the cast strength of the normal a little bit with that, but it has this nice finish that I think would put a really nice spin on it and make it a little bit chewier than your standard old fashioned. So that's the way I went with that one. I don't know.
Nice.
there's so many. It's ridiculous. And part of me was like,
Yeah.
who wants to dance? And I mean, I'm not trying to be a snob, but there's a lot of me that's like, I don't want to mix it a lot of the times. If I do, it's, I don't know, maybe I already have heartburn and I'm trying to cover it up for the night. But on that note, let's go to the Friday. Oh, Jesus, that thing is on and off. I got a hot hand. Just like the man in the chair, Ron Swanson. Wait, is that his name? It doesn't matter.
Nick Offerman.
Nick Offerman. I was going to get there, but we're doing the
You and
Friday.
your hot hands.
I can't help it. The Friday night sipper. What, kind of not what you're sitting down with right now, but I viewed it as kind of sitting down and like a little bit of like a reflective thing where you get 5 minutes to kind of sit down, relax, think about the week, think about, good things, kind of move on with stuff. So Mike, why don't you start with your Friday night?
All right. So for Friday night for me, yeah, like you said, it's just some time to sit and think and really enjoy something, explore it. And I thought, well, maybe something also that, you don't have a lot of, so you really get to spend the time with it and enjoy it. One of the easy things, and I recommend for anybody to go out and find one of these, but from one of the big guys, going to a local and getting a local store pick of Knob Creek. It's single barrel Knob Creek pick at 120 proof. And some of these, man, like this one in particular, it will blow your doors off. And you will earn its respect, or I guess you will learn to respect it, or you will die. But it is just really nice to enjoy it, and very reasonable, like $45 to $50. And the picks tend to be pretty good. From the craft side, the craft side, because we're lucky that we explore a lot of the craft ones, and so we are seeking them out. But right now on the craft side, I would say what I like to sit with for my special alone time is I've got this old 55 single barrel out of Indiana, and it is, it's 58.3%. It is a beautiful, beautiful whiskey. I really enjoy that one, but I'll be quite honest with you. What I prefer to do right now, because we have a lot of samples. Let's say all three of us, a lot of people have a lot of samples. This whole shelf is sample bottles. So I take the Friday night time to go and pick through them and finish off sample bottles like the Deer Hammer Rye or some of the other ones, because there's only like an ounce of them left. It's a good time to enjoy those. And I also recommend, if you can find somebody, do a sample swap with them and then use that time to sit and explore that thing that you're not going to go out and buy.
Nice.
I don't know.
You can't see both of my hands, Arthur.
Yeah, that's true.
In the words of Burt Reynolds, I got Vaseline in my boots.
All right. I started to joke on that one. All right, my Friday night sipper. Right now, both of these, there's a lot of things that could pop up. Like I'm saying, there's things you want to pull in and taste, especially the way we're doing things. I'm gonna go back to like an old classic. It's a Japanese. I'm going Mihadikyo. I can sit in that glass for a bit and hang out for an evening and know it's going to be a nice little time. And though it might not be super accessible for people, it's not terribly hard, especially when people are driving a couple hours. If you're going to a bigger city, you're probably going to be able to find it. If there's a Total Wine, it's going to be on the shelf. And we saw it recently more for like $80 instead of $100 or $120. So it was a steal. So I would be going with that one for my little Friday night endeavor. And then when we switch over to the Craft Friday night one, I want to go with the new Icarus. I'm just the combo of the barrels. The first time I had that on a different one, it blew my mind. I was just in there. So I always like going sometimes I like going home on a Friday night. And that's one that I can go home and I can find such a variety of flavors all harmoniously playing together. So that's my Friday night one. Ben, what do you do?
That's pretty good. I was just gonna say I could take that knob and that Icarus, and that could be Friday night for me. Those are both great. And for me, those Knob Creek, if you're like, if you can't find Stag Junior or you're, price range or whatever, those Knob Creek, I've done some AB with Stag, and usually the Knob for me wins hands down. Just about it'll outdo a Stag Junior. They're fantastic. But I'm going, for me, a good Friday night sip, classic Ardbeg Ugadal, a good old Oogie, all hail the Colt. So good peat, good smoke, good sherry. It's just a good deep. I don't know. There's a lot you can sit down and just lose yourself in a glass of that, and I like that. On the craft side of it, this is a single barrel version, but the Iron Root, the Harbinger, I'll take any version of it. That's just still one of my favorite bourbons, and it's got enough depth, it's got enough proof, and everything that it could take the edge off a Friday night. You can just sit down in the wintertime by the fire, relax, and again just kind of lose yourself into the glass, into the whiskey, and really dig in and enjoy it. So
nice. I like that. I like that. And just because we're gonna keep it moving, let's go to the impress your guests. Now this one has like weird criteria for me, like I'm sure Mike and Ben went into, where you're like, it's not necessarily about me. It's not, and it might not even be about the taste. It's about impressing someone. Where like I have a Pappy 15. I'm more impressed by the Old Fitzgerald bottled in Bond 13 than I am I don't know, but whatever. So it's hard. It's hard to pick out what you think would impress your guests. But I went with one that I got a sample of from Mr. Jeffrey Patron, and it's one that I think if you were at someone's house and they broke it out, you would be pretty happy. You would be extremely happy to taste it and see what happens. It's Tobias and the Angel from Compass Box. Those are some old whiskeys blended together in there, and they do some pretty phenomenal stuff. Not the greatest whiskey I've ever had, but it's one that, like, when you hear it, you hear a little ear tingle. When you get into the 20s and was it 30s, 29s? I don't know. It was ridiculous. The age was ridiculous. I guess 25 and 29. The barrels, but that's where I would be going for with that one, and then I would be going with my Rua Port cask strength that I have. Once again, depends upon the aisle of the people I'm with. I could easily change if I'm with some other people, but that's one I think with a lot of people, it has a lot of punch, a lot of flavor. The port really rides in and sits all over that bear claw. It's really lovely, and there's a lot going on in it. So I think it's something that would touch base with a lot of people after they had it. So that's where I'm going with my impress people.
I've seen it twice.
You guys get to pick who goes next.
Go ahead, man.
all right. So impress the guests. I don't know if there's anything better than some Canadian Mist. Maybe
It's the one that makes
maybe
the
slip
in-laws
it into a
leave.
nice, pour it up for them.
See, the crystal McKinnon makes it worth it, baby.
Impress the guest. I'm going with Octomore for your big boy. This is a little 8.2, but especially if they're a fan of Pete, that's going to blow their socks off. And it's probably my favorite Octomore, the 8.2. But the Iron Root Icor, their anniversary release, that one's just absolutely amazing. So for the craft side of things, obviously hard to get. I think they sold out of it in like 2 hours time. So there you go.
Okay.
What's up, Eli? Good to see you finally getting in here.
All right. So, again, I was going with stuff that I had that I didn't have to go out and seek to find. And I was thinking if I was going to impress the guests, I didn't want to just impress them with the whiskey. I wanted, or at least what I had and what I gave them and what was the name. I wanted to impress them with something that they probably haven't had. and would get them to explore and maybe go down a path with something. So for, the big name, it's not one of the big 5 distilleries, but it's coming from the hidden distillery that people don't like to talk about. It's going with Joseph Magnus, which is a blend of very old MGP whiskeys done by our good friend and my crush, Nancy Fraley. And Magnus is it's an experience. I mean, it's a very, very delicious whiskey, and you could say, yeah, and this is a blend, and then talk to them about that, and then kind of get them to think about that instead of just going out and being a hunter of allocated stuff or something like that. From the craft side, so with craft, there's people have preconceived notions about age, they have preconceived notions about proof and stuff. But if you give somebody something and then say, okay, now let me tell you about what you just had. And you give them a whiskey that is, for one example, from Neely Family Distillery. This whiskey is 22 months old. There is no way in hell that you would guess that. And it is because it is like a lot of, they're not a lot. There's a handful of really good craft distilleries who are doing things the old school and right way to where age doesn't matter. And if you do it the right way, you don't get I get the green funk. Oh, I get this. Oh, this must be young. And if someone gets one of these and, like if I told them, oh, here's 22-month whiskey. Oh yeah, it tastes young. Bullshit. You can't taste that. You're lying to yourself and everybody in the room. Try something unique and then now go and explore and find something. This is worth hunting over going and standing in line for something else.
Yeah, and you are not the only one that has said that about the Neely Family Distillery and Royce Neely, the head distiller.
And Gary Woodhat too. I mean, you wouldn't guess his age on stuff. I mean, the stuff in Neely. I mean, it's just good God. If they could, if they had distribution on there, I think they would go nuts. But when somebody like Alan, is paying high compliments to Royce, that actually says something. For a not whiskey choice for impressing somebody is I actually do have one of Alan's choices, and the Old Clifty Who's Your Apple Brandy. This stuff is fan-freaking-tastic. It is so good. Yeah. And I don't, especially this time of year, man, this is a treat. And this would get somebody to sit down and go, that is made from what? Yeah, it's great stuff.
Yep. All right. Now on the note where I left my list at home, just as you were talking about Magnus, I know Cigar Blend was floating around my special occasion and my impress your guest. I think that one was on my impress my guest was the Cigar Blend.
Yeah, that was a finalist on mine as well.
But whatever. That's what happens when you don't remember your list at home. You have to come with it. Fly. You forget important stuff like that. Not that either one is bad. They're both really nice whiskeys. But we're on to the one that I thought may be the most interesting. The special occasion whiskey. Mazel tov.
L'chaim.
I am Mazel tov.
From the old country.
Man. And that just brings back the right thing because it is something where you're trying to share an excitement and really stoke something up and be like, ooh, that was amazing. And in my mind, it doesn't just have to do that. It has to live up to the hype you're pumping into it at that moment. Like when it comes out. So my special occasion whiskey, because it's a little more universal, not just going to the island stuff. I went with the Glendronach, the Parliament Funkadelic, the 21-year-old beast that is full of flavors and fruit and depth. I think it plays to the mass universe of people. If you were sitting down at a table, I think it would go around to more people than some other ones. I just thought it was a very universal one to pick for that one, and I really fucking love it. I'm sorry, I really like that one. Another one, top list for that one, Glengoyne 21. Just both 21s. I don't know if that's identical, but that's not.
You like 21-year-olds.
I like 21-year-olds. And right now, because I can't get it, it falls into this realm as a special occasion as well too. Is the bottle of Matty Gladden I have comes out for people wanting to taste it, people wanting to try it, stuff like that. Maybe an event coming up, something like that. But it is one that I think is really neat. Otherwise, Unpretentious from Spirits of French Lick was really neat this year. And I think, I guess, special occasion, I would go Unpretentious because it's never going to be made again, right? Like, it's not going to be hit that one. So I'm flipping my script on that one. I'm going to go with Unpretentious for this year for that one. So, all right, who wants to go next?
Go ahead, Ben. Go ahead.
All right. So for me, I don't know. You start looking at special occasion whiskey and impress the guest, and it's like there's a fine line between the two a little bit. And so to me, special occasion is like if you pull it out, you're probably going to impress your guest anyway, but you're taking it to a whole nother level, kind of. So on that end, I went with Black Art from Bruichladdich. You're looking at, I think, 26-year-old and 27-year-old scotches blended. It's just, if you've ever had it, you won't forget it. It's absolutely amazing and just stunning, the flavors and what they can do there. So Black Art on that one. And that would be one, I think the price put it in a place where it's something you want to save for a special event, something to celebrate. And yeah, for the craft side, it was a hard toss up. I think you nailed a good one because that was in my final consideration with the Unpretentious, Patrick, because that one's so amazing. Again, so difficult to get, and I think that's what led me to, for this one, the Foregate Batch 6. This is 12-year-old bourbon. It's 126 proof, and it's finished with dark rum and Armagnac cask. And it's amazing. It's just really, really good. And it's something, you want to kind of save and pull out for those special times. So.
Okay. So for special occasion for me, again, looking at stuff that I've got, and quite honestly, any whiskey that you've got can be special for a special occasion. And I firmly believe that. This is special to me because every single time that I have Old Crow, I'll think of my dad, always. So that's always, it doesn't matter what it is, and it doesn't have to be something super expensive. What I would say, like for bigger holidays and things like that, what I tend to go more to not whiskey, and I tend to have an Armagnac or a brandy. And again, it doesn't have to be something big and expensive, but you can find ones that are, they have maybe something that's significant to you. And I've got an Armagnac that was from 96, and it was 23 years old. And so it was basically, it fell in line with the year we bought our house, and it was bottled, in 2019, which was an interesting year. But I like that just because it is more of a special thing. Most people, especially if you share with somebody, they're not drinking Armagnacs or brandies. And I've got some cheap brandies that are really great, and they're just really fun to drink. I would say for special release, like find one from your favorite distillery, make that your special whiskey, or find something and I've talked about it on here before. It is not my favorite whiskey, but it has hand labeling, and this is a special bottle of Blanton's. It is not my favorite, and I will take that to my grave, and I will die on that hill that it is not my favorite. However, every handwritten thing on here has something to do with me and my wife, including the fact that it was bottled on her 50th birthday. It was in Rick number 50. It's 93 proof, which was the year we started dating. It's like every single thing on here has to do with that. And so like on our anniversary, which now she's no longer with us. And so it is my solo drink that I have on our anniversary, which will be coming up here pretty soon. So that is special just for that unique thing. For the craft side, that was really hard because, just there's so many good ones on there. It's like, well, what made everything? I don't know. This sounds dorky. It's all special, But I was thinking of something that would be a unique experience, that it's special and that you're not going to get a lot of it. Rua Sherry Port came up, because that one is it's just a very delightful, desserty finishing one. It'd be a good way to end an evening with somebody. I thought of Unpretentious, but you got to sell some family members to get a bottle of that. And or even special occasion, you get a whiskey of the year, like a Harbinger or something that you have to open up. But craft side, I would say, just because Rua Sherry is special, because I don't know when I'll ever get another bottle of it. It's fun to share, and it's a good way to end the night.
Nice.
Yep.
And I agree with that. We are coming to the end of the evening. That's everyone's lists. There were some other ones, obviously, that would fight their way up there. I do like the Armagnac toss in there. I mean, you're getting some. As we get further into the show, I'm getting further into wanting to try other shit. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. So that is why it is about that time to cut the show short. So remember that. Thank you for stopping in. Wonderful to see all of you. This Monday, we're going to be having Steve Akeley on from the ABV Network. They are actually a little bit more professional than we are. We're happy to have these people come on. But that's because I think we have a good time when we're on. I think it'll be worth stopping in. Hell, special guests. Who knows what could happen? It could be crazy. But thank you, everyone, for stopping in. We appreciate it. This is what we thought of you only need 5 whiskeys. And according to Reddit, I feel like Edit's wrong. There's some smart people there, but you only need 5. My table at home. I mean, look at the bookcases behind these guys. I only got pictures behind me right now, but typically I have a bunch of booze too.
You only need 5 kids' drawings behind you.
I think I can make 4 if you give me a second, and I have some deer horns. I don't know how that all works, but I got it. But thank you, everyone, stopping on. Oh, wait, we have to nominate some people. Like, we were nominated by the good folks at the Rotgut Review.
That's right.
Let's nominate the guys at Whiskey Congress. It's a little bit different show, but it is actually really cool, kind of current events. Discussions about drinking whiskey, sometimes political, without killing each other or pulling. Well, I guess if you pull a knife, they're not right next to each other, so it's not that bad. But actually, a little bit more fun, a little bit more excitement, a little bit different twist than your typical whiskey review show. And I think their top 5 will be a little bit different, the same as we were talking the Hood Sommelier over on Instagram. We're going to kick things around. We're pushing it all over the place. We've been watching a couple of his things. Mike, you've been in a couple tastings with him. We want to see what his thoughts on some of this are as well too. So there's a challenge thrown, gauntlet out. It's not that terrible, but you can make it bad on yourself by overthinking this horribly, and it does. The longer you give yourself, the worse it is. Better just to get on and record and say some stuff and let it out. So everyone else, thanks for stopping in. We really appreciate it. Remember, it's not the size of the den that matters. It's the love of whiskey, everyone. Cheers.
Cheers.
Let's get into it. 1, 2, 3.